Welcome back to our Careers in STEAM series, where we interview our team alumni about their STEAM experience and receive career and college related advice. Today, our guest is Shriya Shah. Shriya graduated from Athens High School in 2018 and went on to earn a major in computer science and mechanical engineering at the University of Michigan and a master's in computer science with a concentration in computational perception and robotics from Georgia Institute of Technology. She currently works as a software engineer at Microsoft. Hi, Shriya. How are you doing today?
Hi, Aditi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Shreya?
Yeah, I guess you summarized it pretty well. But yeah, so I graduated from Athens in 2018. I was part of Team 226 from 2015 to 2018. And then I went to Michigan. I graduated in 2022. And now I currently live in Seattle and I work at Microsoft.
Can you describe your role on 226 Hammerheads?
Yeah, so my first 2 years on 226, I was part of the fabrication team. And then my senior year, I was on the programming team where I was the Arduino lead. And essentially, I was in charge of incorporating Arduino into the robot since that was a new thing at the time.
What is your most memorable moment on 226?
Um, I guess for me, that was the Bloomfield All Girls competition. I was a human player, which was really cool, just getting to be up close with the robot and being more involved with the drive team. So, all in all, it was a cool experience.
Could you tell us more about what other activities you did in high school other than robotics?
Yeah, I guess my main activity outside of robotics was sports. I played a lot of basketball, and then I also did track and softball.
What extracurriculars did you join at UMich to kind of help further your knowledge in mech and comp sci?
Um, I mostly just did SWEET, Society of Women Engineers, and Geeks just to be, which Geeks is Girls in Electrical Engineering and Computer Science. And besides that, I also did intramural sports.
Could you tell
So
us a
why
little
did
bit,
you? Oh, go ahead, Abby.
could you tell us a little bit more about gigs?
Geeks, yeah, it's basically the same thing as Society of Women Engineers, but it's more focused on the electrical engineering and computer science. So it's just like a bunch of girls in those majors that just meet every week and hang out.
So why did you decide to double major in mechanical engineering and comp sci? Because as they are very difficult majors by themselves.
I was kind of just interested in both. Like in 226, I did both fabrication and software. So, and I wasn't really sure where my career would take me, so I just thought, why not?
What activities helped you prepare for college and this overall, I guess, challenging course?
Definitely 226 played a big role in that because that was my main exposure to engineering. So that was what I guess carried over into college.
So you were an instructional aide for Engineering 101, the
Mhm.
Introduction to Computers and Programming at the University of Michigan. Could you tell us more about that and how you, well, I guess, got that job, I guess?
Oh, yeah, sure. So, basically, an instructional aide is also like a T called TAs at other schools. So, what we do is we kind of just help out the professor that teaches the class. So, we like run the labs, we teach off or help out at office hours, and we just answer like questions that people post on. We have this forum called like Piazza, which is where people ask questions. So, just answer student questions there. And for getting that, I guess they just send out an application, fill it out, do an interview. So,
How
and
did
yeah,
you how did you get into this opportunity at generally that?
like the opportunity to be a TA.
Uh, just with um, the engineering 101.
Oh, it was well, I took the class and then I really enjoyed it and then I saw the application, so they email it to everyone, so I just filled it out.
So you have a master's degree from Georgia Tech. So do you think it was beneficial to get a master's degree or did it
I'm
not?
I'm actually currently getting my master's.
Great
I'm
start.
only in my second semester, yeah. So we'll see, I guess.
So do you think it's helping you anyway right now or
Um, I'm only in my second semester, so it's hard to tell now. Come back to me on that one once I'm done.
So why did you choose to do a master's then? Would be a better question, I guess.
Yeah, I really like to learn, and I just felt like it would just help me keep my skills sharp. And again, I just thought, why not? It was another why not.
You work for Microsoft now, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
What does a typical workday look like for you?
Yeah, so my typical workday, I usually just have a lot of like meetings, and then when I'm like not in meetings, I just work on things like documentation and fixing bugs, addressing compliance issues. And then we also have this thing called on call, where basically if our system goes down, they just call us and we have to resolve it.
So
So
what excites you the most about the field you are currently in?
I guess just there's so many like different advancements, so many opportunities, and it's always constantly evolving, constantly advancing. So there's always just new stuff to learn about.
What do you think your favorite part of your job would be?
My favorite part, um, I guess my favorite part is probably just like getting to work with other like people that I can just like learn from, and creating like solutions that are just like used every day. Like the system we worked on is an internal Microsoft tool, so a lot of people like use it, which is kind of cool.
So where do you think the engineering field will go to like 5 to 10 years?
I guess that's kind of hard to say. Like, if you look at the past 5 to 10 years, you wouldn't expect to see what's happening today. So, in the next 5 to 10 years, I just think it's gonna look really different. Like, there's so many new things, so many new technologies that all these companies are working on. So, I feel like it's so hard to predict what's gonna happen in the future.
You talked about learning about new challenges, new things to overcome, new skills. What kind of new skills and such do you learn at your job and in these fields?
Yeah, so I guess at work we code in like C sharp versus in college you kind of learn like Java, Python, C++. plus plus. So you learn like a whole new programming language, and then just everyone you work with is so smart and like feel like knows so many things. So you can just like learn from them, I guess.
So were there any challenges or difficulties you had to overcome as a girl pursuing a career in STEM
I
or
mean, yeah,
STEAM?
of course. There's always going to be like this unconscious bias among your peers, so people might not like listen to you or respect you, which is kind of tough. But I guess to like overcome that is kind of just important to have like a good network of friends that you can kind of like just like relax with them and just like get your mind off of it. Kind of just makes it easier to deal with.
Did you do anything did you ever experience any bias towards being a girl in careers in STEAM?
Yeah, of course, like in like group projects and just stuff like that. Like there's like I said, there's always like this unconscious bias that um kind of just like it's always gonna. I mean, it's getting better, obviously, but it's kind of just always gonna be there. So
How would you say you overcame this or challenged it?
just like my like friends, like just like I guess like after school, just like hanging out with them and just like getting my mind off of it. That just like made it easier to like deal with, and um just didn't have to think about it as much.
So at your time at University of Michigan, you had two internships, one at the Baltimore Gas and Electric and one at Train Technologies. Could you
Mhm.
talk more about them?
Yeah, so at Baltimore Gas and Electric, I was an engineering intern, and Baltimore Gas and Electric is basically Baltimore's equivalent of DTE. So I worked on the innovation team, where we basically worked on just making utility repairs more efficient. And then at Train, I was there for 2 summers. So my first summer, I was a software engineering intern, where I did block programming for a thermostat. Oh, and Train is like a HVAC company, so heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And my second year, I worked on a Simulink model of an air conditioner. Simulink is basically like a controls modeling system or software. Sorry.
Where was your favorite place to intern or work out of all of those, and what do you think you liked most about it?
My favorite. I guess I was at Train for 2 summers, so I definitely had like more experiences there. So I guess I would consider that my favorite. Um, And sorry, what was the second part?
What did you like most about it?
What did I like most? I like the people. Like I loved my teammates. I loved working with them. Um, so yeah, that was like the big thing for me is like I had a great manager. I had great teammates. Yeah.
So, how did you get these opportunities to do internships?
It was just another just apply online, um, and then go through the interview process.
How have you been able to balance both working full time and being able to get your master's?
So my master's is only part time. So it's honestly been like not too bad. I just work during the day and then in my free time just work on my classes. Um, yeah, only take like one class a semester. So
Not very intense.
yeah, not super intense.
So, you mentioned that you like learning, right? So,
Mhm.
are there any like projects like in the world that you are interested in at this moment?
Like, could you clarify what you mean by that?
So, there's like a lot of startup opportunities, right? So, have you ever thought of
Mhm.
like kind of venturing into that world?
Oh, going into startups? I actually haven't really thought about that. I always just wanted to work at a big company, so yeah, startup is actually that's something I've never really thought about.
Is there any specific field or type of thing that it sounds like you do a lot of computer science work. Is there
Mhm.
any specific project or type of thing you like coding most or working on most?
Um, I guess like I'm a back-end engineer, so I like doing like more back-end stuff, but for projects like there isn't really anything super specific that I would just like really want to work on or um yeah, just like I just like working on like more like back-end kind of stuff.
So, what are some opportunities for people who majored in both mechanical engineering and computer science?
Yeah, so like actually being in like the Detroit area, there's actually like a lot of great opportunities. So like the automotive industry is actually like a great place for that. Um, it like as the physical systems, which is like mechanical engineering, as those get more advanced, the software is always going to be necessary, and then the mechanical engineering is going to be um, more necessary for like the physical system itself. So like auto is like a good um, example of that, but I guess that transfers to other industries as well.
What do you think? Do you have any advice for anyone who would want to go into computer science and mechanical?
I guess just like take the opportunities you're given. Any opportunity is a good opportunity. It's always good to learn. It's always good to try things.
Is there any special? How did you get into the internships that you did? What was your entryway into those?
Oh, I just like applied um like during the job search, like you just send out a ton of applications and then go through the interview process and um hopefully eventually land an internship.
So, why did you choose Baltimore Gas and Electric and train technology specifically?
So Baltimore Gas and Electric, I just wanted to try something different. It was just it was in a new location with like new opportunities because it was in Baltimore, so kind of like going somewhere new was kind of cool. And then for train, um, I like the people that I really clicked with the people I interviewed with, so I thought that it would be a good opportunity for me to learn from like people that I kind of like felt like I was on a good team with.
Do you have any tips on how to distinguish yourself in internship applications, processes, things like that?
Trying to think. That's actually a really good question. Um, and it's really hard to say. I guess to distinguish, like even things like 226 will like distinguish yourself. I feel like because like not a lot of people have that experience. So even like I had 226 on my resume for the longest time. So stuff like that will help you stand out because it's real world engineering experience, or like real world like I guess like if you're on business like real world like more like business experience as well since you work with like sponsors and stuff like that. So just like I feel like yeah, everyone that is on 226 is like in a good spot.
Do
So, do
you
you have any? Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Do you have any advice for people who are trying to find their major right now?
Yeah, I guess like you always want to do what interests you. There's so many options and it can be overwhelming. So if you just try to like gravitate towards what you find interesting, what you find cool, then it won't feel as boring and as tedious, and I feel like that can also like give more clarity when you're trying to choose your major.
Do you have any tips for things to explore and things to join to find out what you like and what you want to do?
Um I know at Michigan specifically, there's this class called Engineering 110, and that kind of gives you an intro to all the engineering majors. So I think that's like a good way for engineering students to kind of figure out what they want to do. Because it gives you kind of an overview, and you get to like just see what like kind of opportunities there are and stuff like that, and all the different engineering majors.
So, what was your favorite class at UMich for engineering?
My favorite class. That's a tough one. There's I actually enjoyed a lot of my classes. Trying to think of my favorite. For engineering specifically, I really liked like this deep learning class I took. Um, I it was like something that was kind of brand new, so I thought it was pretty cool. But it was also a really hard class, like very challenging. So um, yeah, I think that would have been my favorite.
What do you think? Which class do you think you took in UMich helped you the most in your current career in life?
Definitely EX281, which is data structures and algorithms. That one like gives you a good foundation of software engineering and just like data structures that you use every day when you're coding or programming. So I think that that class is probably the most helpful for work.
So, do you have any advice for people who are trying to like figure out what classes they should take in college?
That's another thing of just I guess do what interests you. Like um I feel like people will like there's so many courses offered like at all schools and like Michigan is one of them, but all schools have so many different options. So I feel like that like especially for electives, there's just like you're gonna find something that interests you. So just take those classes, and I think that's how you'll know if that's something you like actually like too.
Did you ever do any extracurriculars in your time at UMich? I think you mentioned a few earlier on.
Yeah,
Uh,
my main one was the Society of Engineers, and then I also did intramural sports.
yeah. Which one do you think, did you do any that helped you in your progression towards comp sci or Microsoft?
I kind of treated my extracurriculars as more of a break from school um, than like actually um, I guess intensively like, because courses are a lot. So just like yeah, for me, my extracurriculars were more my break.
Was there anything else that you did? What was your favorite part of comp sci and of mechanical engineering? Anything that crossed over that you liked the most?
I feel like there wasn't too much overlap between the two, but again, something I really liked was just like the people, like learning from everyone, like the professors know so much, and just being there absorbing everything.
So, what made you choose the more computer science side instead of the mechanical engineering side?
That's just what I realized I liked more. I found software to just be a bit more interesting, more fun, so I ended up going that route.
Now that you're in software at Microsoft, is there any specific, um, how do I say it? Anything you learned at Microsoft that you think would be useful to learn just in the outside of the business, outside of college?
I think just having a good foundation of like programming, like I mentioned, the class X281, um, that's gonna get you a long way. But it's really hard to prepare for your job because every company, every role is completely different. So there's no way to like foresee what role you're gonna have. So just like having a good foundation, I think is good.
So, you're currently working at Microsoft, right? Did you have any other job opportunities other than Microsoft?
Yeah, I did.
Was there was there one that you thought was similar to Microsoft or one that you had a close battle with but couldn't quite like you decided Microsoft over it? And
I
if you
think
didn't, like
sorry.
Why did you choose? What did you like about it?
I guess for me, Microsoft was always a company that I respected, always like admired. So as soon as I saw the Microsoft offer, I kind of that was a done deal for me.
What specifically do you think? Is there anyone you met at Microsoft that you think really helped you along in your career?
My teammates, I guess. I learned a lot from them, so um, and they all have a lot of experience. So yeah.
Do you have any advice on career planning and finding how did you manage to get into such a big company like Microsoft? What is
Um,
any tips?
I I guess yeah, again, my advice is like do what interests you. Um, when if you do what interests you, like the opportunities will come. Because then you'll like gravitate to like you'll be more interested in it, and then it won't feel boring, it won't feel tedious, and what what is meant for you will find you. That's like my motto, I guess.
So did anyone like help you realize that like I need to do what I want in order for things to come to me?
Um, I guess that's just kind of how I have always been. Like I'll just do what interests me, and then hope that eventually I'll be where I need to be.
Do you have
So you
any
mentioned that you did fabrication for your first 2 years in two to
Mhm.
six. So what made you jump to the programming side after?
I just wanted to try something different. I felt like I had enough exposure to fabrication and I was still interested in programming, so I was like it was my last year, so I thought I might as well just try something different.
Were there any challenges that you experienced jumping from one side to another so quickly?
Um, I mean, it's very different, but I feel like 226 is a good job of like the boot camps like in the beginning of the year where you they like kind of teach you about the team and teach you about like your subgroup. So I actually didn't like I feel like it was actually a pretty smooth transition because of how 226 like handles the new team members.
Were you able to do I know I imagine after 2 years on fabrication you still had a really expansive knowledge on that. Were you able to apply any of that to programming or were you able to still be able to use that? Kind of participate in both fields?
I kind of just stayed with programming, so I didn't really work with fabrication on my last year. I'm sure the opportunity is there, but I wanted to go more into programming.
What was your favorite season when at your time in two to six?
My favorite season, that would be my I guess junior year, which was 2016 to 2017. Um, I don't quite remember what the challenge was, but I just remember having a good time and learning a lot.
Yeah. Is there any specific thing that I know you said you just had a good time and had fun learning? Anything that really excited you about that game year that you thought was
I think
great?
that was the year that I did the girls competition. So that was really exciting for me. I really, really had a good time at the Bloomfield competition, and I think that was like the big highlight of my 226 career. Um, just because I got to be so close to the drive team, and I know that's like a big component of the competitions.
Actually, Abby and I were part of the girls' competition drive team last
Hmm.
year. Abby was the human player, and I was the technician, not technician.
Oh, awesome! How
The
did you
second.
guys feel about it?
It was really fun.
Yeah, like it's a good time.
It's like being up near the action. You get to see
Hmm.
what's going on all the time.
Exactly, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any last words of advice or anything else you'd like to add?
Uh, Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for joining us today, Shriya. Yeah,
Thank you for inviting me.
yeah. And to all our viewers, make sure to tune in next week. We're going to interview aerospace engineer and 226 alumni Arpit Agrawal.